Hey guys, so we're back live with our fifth team. We have team Accelerators. I'm going to play their video now.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Lalit Agrawal. I represent Team Accelerator. Our focus is to resolve customers' concerns related to data sharing, that is, how much and what type of data they should share, and ease of portability. To answer these questions, we have designed a comprehensive solution which includes data-driven alerts and consent management, and single-click portability of accounts and consents. Let's take a deep dive into three modules of our solution. One, data-driven alerts. Our AI/ML-based engine will analyze consent and historical data to derive the industry standards. After industry benchmarking, there are two trigger points to raise an alert. One, additional volume of data, and two, extra data. So for example, if FIU is asking for 6 months transaction details for a home loan, then customer will get an alert because industry standard is 3 months. This will enable customer to take an informed decision. Two, data sensitivity-driven consent management. AI/ML-based engine will assign a score of low, medium, or high to the consent based on the sensitivity of the data and frequency of sharing. For each score, we have a different authentication mechanism for consent approval and data sharing. For high score, customer will use OTP-based authentication for approving the consent as well as the first-time data sharing. While for medium score, customer will use OTP-based authentication for approving the consent only. No authentication is required for data sharing. The engine will learn and refine itself over a period of time for better results. 3. Accounts and consent portability. We created two new APIs to port all the accounts and consent details and updated the notification API to include porting details. AA will initiate the porting request, and after FIP confirmation, it will update consent artifacts. Finally, it will share the updated artifacts with FIP and FIU. In conclusion, I will say it's a win-win solution for all. Customers can take an informed decision, AAs can offer value-added services, while FIUs can reduce their liability of managing unwanted data.
Thanks, Lalit. Hello, everyone. In this demo, I'm going to demonstrate the flow of FIU application connecting to account aggregator with sensitivity meter and alert mechanism based on consent parameters and industry standards. Here, AFM is an FIU where end user Mansi is trying to apply for a loan. AFM is asking for a consent from Mansi to get her details from respective bank. We have pre-filled personal data profile, loan details, and then these consent details. Here we are asking for 8 months of transaction data in stream mode, which will be fetched periodically by the FIU. When we submit this form, it will add the consent for user approval to the account aggregator. So let's move on to account aggregator interface now to see these consent details. For the purpose of this demo, we would like to focus on sensitivity and alerting more. We can see the consent we just added from FIU portal along with 3 previous consents from various FIUs. Let's dive in and see how these are classified into low, medium, and high sensitivity as shown by green, amber, and red dots respectively. If you see the first consent here, it is marked as medium because consent type is transaction and the data will be stored by the FIU. Because of these reasons, we recommend an additional OTP-based authentication. So when we approve this consent, the user will be sent an OTP. Only after we input this code, the consent will be approved. We have a similar flow for high sensitivity. Along with OTP at approval level, we also recommend additional authentication at first data fetch. But there is no additional authentication for low sensitive data. So when I approve this consent, it will not ask for any OTP. Before we see how an alert is generated, we would like to highlight that the sensitivity and alerts are mutually exclusive. Let's see why there is an alert in the consent we just generated from the FIU. As you can see in the details here, 8 months of data has been asked, which is higher than the industry standard. So we recommend the user to verify the service provider. The user can either approve or reject the consent based on this alert and ask the FIU for a new consent in sync with the industry standards. So that's all about consent sensitivity and alerts. On accounts and consents portability between account aggregators, we believe standardization of linked reference number across FIPs is required. With this approach, we think portability can be achieved with these new APIs along with existing APIs. In account aggregator API, we need to add these two APIs. And for the existing FIP APIs, we need to update the account linking API. An end-to-end flow of APIs for portability would look something like this. That's all about our demo. Thank you.
Very, very interesting. Thank you so much, Team Accelerators. If you are not speaking, please go on mute. You have 6 minutes for Q&A.
Thanks for this. Looks quite interesting. I'm just trying to figure out the account aggregator portability that you envision. What is it that would be achieved by porting from one AA to another?
When you port to one AA to another, we are thinking of porting all the linked accounts and as well as all the consents. And when the linking is in progress, the consents will be paused. The active consent will be paused, but we will also port the revoked and consents for F1 purposes.
But why would a user want to do that? That is the real question.
Sure. So I would take that up. Hi, this is Ravi. Primarily, this is coming from the experience perspective. In case if I've opened an account with an account aggregator, a user would not like to have the vendor lock-in. Right, even in the Western countries where we have the account switching facility, this is on a similar line that when one user should not get locked in with one account aggregator, even the historical consent as well as account linking should be swiftly switch on to the other account aggregator in order to get benefit whosoever is providing the premium services.
Okay, because the way I see it is that there's really no lock-in. That is why I was wondering. But anyway, we'll... Except you're right, history is the only thing that gets locked in.
Yes, exactly.
One question from me, guys. This logic for high, medium, and low is what you guys are defining, or the user gets to define, or how does it work?
So I think primarily what we are doing is we have built AI ML-based algorithm. Over a period of time, the module would learn itself. So we have given, for a purpose of demo, we have fed in certain set of data, but over a period of time, the algorithm would learn and understand that for a given purpose, what is the industry standard? And in case if it is flagging over and above the industry standard, it would start highlighting it based upon the traffic lighting, whether it is green, amber, or red.
Okay, but this would be basically only restricted to the users that you get, right?
Yes, exactly. Certainly, with the user that we have and anything from a domain, what are the industry standards? So it's going to be, refreshed based upon certain industry standard, but automatically the model would learn based upon the inquiries that are received across different FIU. So it becomes self-sustaining and autopilot.
Yeah, got that. But see, I'm just suggesting that maybe you attract a particular kind of user, right? And then you will get information for that kind of user. Here you would want it, maybe somebody might use it for PFM, somebody might use it for loan, somebody might use it for something else. And there are multiple institutions as well. So, yeah, got it. But you say as the data becomes larger, you'll be more aligned to it.
Absolutely, yeah. So to do a bootstrapping, we would be providing up the data from our side, but I think over a period of time, as the data grows up, the model would learn.
Okay.
And do you envision that ultimately this data will be used for purposes beyond kind of the core, whatever the user is applying for, meaning almost as supplemental CIBIL data, etc., for loan applications?
Yeah, I think the primary objective here was to safeguard, the customer who are financially illiterate or low literate, I would say, where they are not actually understanding the amount of data sharing. So this is preventing the people who may not be actually understanding that whether they should be sharing 3 months of data or 6 months of data. So probably I would say in the consent fraud reduction segment.
2 minutes to go.
Yeah, where would you sit in the ecosystem? I'm trying to figure out how you get access to these flows.
Yeah, sure. So I think these are the value-added services that we are envisioning that a account aggregator should provide to their customer. I think the first two modules that we talked about, the alert mechanism and the sensitivity meter. The aspect is certainly more of an larger ecosystem play where the set of APIs, if they get extended, that would be again value-added services from account aggregator side, but it should be implemented by both FIU, FIP as well.
Okay.
So I think we have actually, consolidated 3 modules in this solution. 2 modules are from the account aggregator, which would help the customers in order to take more informed decisions and prevent fraud. And third module is more on the ecosystem side.
Okay.
And how much is built thus far?
We have built everything that you have seen in the demo, including the UI, including the integration between the APIs that are running between FIU and account aggregator. Even the proposed API for portability has been thought through, and we have put the Swagger APIs, and we can share more details. There is a GitHub repository also that we have shared in terms of our proposed code.
Brilliant. So, the time has elapsed, the 12 minutes. Thank you very much, Team Accelerators. The people on stage, Mansi Dhawan also contributed to this project. So thank you very much to all of you, and we'll be back shortly with our next team, which is Team Origa / with their product SimpleFin. So thank you once again, Ravi and team.
Thank you, everyone.
Good job.
Good job, guys.
We'll be going backstage and we'll be coming back shortly. Please stay tuned.